You're listening to Head to Head, a Star Wars podcast. Two fans, two generations, all things Star Wars begins now.
All right. Well, hello, everybody. I'm Eric Vansel.
And I'm Daryl Siders.
And as always, we are the hosts of this show. It's always good to, reinforce that idea, right? So,
Right.
A little bit's been going on. The last couple of shows, we basically just been doing some more, some top fives, some
little countdown things.
Yeah, just like, some generic, more character-based things. Comparing a couple characters. I remember we did like Boba Fett versus Cad Bane or something. Like, who would you rather have on your team? Stuff like that. But now, we're sort of back into news mode in a sense. Or I should say, like, news discussion mode. Because we're finally starting to get a little bit of updates with Ahsoka. And we all know Ahsoka Season 1 had its issues. It wasn't all bad. It wasn't the Acolyte.
Right.
And even the Acolyte, honestly, had some things in it that were okay. But for the most part, Ahsoka just didn't live up to its hype. I think that would probably be the thing to be the most fair to say. Is that there were just some issues where it didn't live up to its height. So now we're starting to get some news trickling in about Season 2, which we severely hope and sincerely hope actually happens. And that is, can we please actually have the Ahsoka show focus on Ahsoka?
And be good.
Being good would be nice. But let's just start with having it at least even focus on the character that it's supposed to.
Right.
That was, I think, one of the big problems, like right out the gate that we had, is, just the fact that it took a while for it to happen. Now, of course, Ted joins us. He says, "Happy Star Wars Day, guys."
Hey.
So, you want to go through some of these updates? I mean, we could start. There's really a couple of different categories. Why don't we start with the Anakin ones? Because I think that's the ones that, well, that's sort of what we actually advertised in our in our whole title.
Thumbnail and title.
Yeah, so people are probably, watching us based on that. But there are other things, too, that we can go over.
Yeah, sure. One of the cool things that we've learned from Celebration this year was that Hayden Christensen will be returning for Ahsoka Season 2. And apparently he has more of a pivotal role. He's not just going to be, like in Season 1, he kind of had more of a cameo. Whereas in Season 2, he plays an integral part in the development of Ahsoka and probably some other characters, probably namely Sabine. So I think that's really good. One, for Hayden Christensen, because I don't think that he got a chance to do all the things that he wanted to do as playing Anakin Skywalker. So I think this is kind of the continuation of him, and he's kind of evolved, and he's able to do a lot of that. There's going to be some flashbacks, of course, but I think we're going to see a lot of mentoring of Ahsoka in Season 2, where, which is going to be really interesting, because although we saw Anakin, mentoring Ahsoka throughout the Clone Wars and things like that, it's different when it's live action and it feels a little bit more tangible. So that's really going to be cool. Apparently there was some leak, or I don't know what to call it, a leak. He made a post, or no, he didn't make the post. This company, Comic-Con in UK, I think, made a post about Hayden Christensen was supposed to show up somewhere to their Comic-Con, but he couldn't because he's been filming night shoots. So that's kind of confirmation that he's definitely going to be in Ahsoka Season 2. He's filming some things at night, which makes sense because Force Ghosts usually kind of show up better at night. Excuse me.
I guess. I don't know. I always thought that was kind of like they're sort of reaching. I guess, granted, maybe he's in the same location as where they're shooting or whatever. And I know that one of the other things that was discussed with this is that maybe taking a cue from Andor, they're actually going to do more location-based stuff, and they're going to rely a little bit less on the volume, which That alone would be good. While we're at it, Universal joins us and says good
Hey,
evening. This
good
is
evening.
going to be good. Well, we're going to give it a shot.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
hope so.
I guess we're going to have something to live up to already, but yeah, this should be a good discussion actually, because really, even once you get past all the news-based stuff, there's a lot to unpack with this. There's just a lot here. It doesn't seem like it, but there really is when you stop and think about it. But again, that's the only thing that I wasn't really 100% sure about. Is I get it. Hey, Hayden's on night shoots. Whatever, but, do you really think that, I mean, what would you say the percentage of the chances are that that's really what he was doing?
I'd probably say it's like a 60% chance.
Yeah, I mean, I could go for that too, I guess. Universal says, I do have spoilers if you want me to share. Well, so do we. So share away. I mean, that's what this whole thing is about. I mean, I know there's a lot of people on the internet that, especially on YouTube, that get really, really tweaked when channels will start dropping a bunch of spoilers. But I don't know. This whole show that we have is really more of a discussion show. And although when a series comes up, we usually try to wait a sufficient amount of time, or at least a majority of our audience has seen it, and we can just move on from there. But I mean, honestly, I go through this. Thank goodness Cobra Kai is off the air now, because every year it would be the same thing. Cobra Kai would drop a season, and as you know, they dropped all the whole thing at once, except for the last one. But I mean, for the most part, they would just drop the whole thing at once. And then from day one, people would start talking about it, like spoilery big talk, right? Because they dropped the whole thing. And what would irritate me is, invariably, you would always get like 3 or 4 people out of the group that would just go off on people. Well, I haven't had time to watch it yet. I'm still working. Could you at least give people, through the weekend or whatever, to actually watch it or whatever? But, my whole thing is like, okay, if you're in a Cobra Kai group, I'm not going to diverge too much on Cobra Kai, but this is a good example for Star Wars, though. If you're in a Cobra Kai Facebook group, let's say, which this was, and a new season drops, do you really expect everybody to talk about some pivotal moment from season 2? Or, some earlier thing? I mean, really? I mean, it's kind of, and with this,
You might want to just stay off the group until you kind of
see, that was the thing that I would always admonish these people. I'd say, mute the group. You can do that. Because, even just not checking it or whatever, you can accidentally see something. I totally get that and respect that. But just mute it. Mute it. Or, maybe just stay off of whatever social media it is until where the group is, until it's done. I mean, you have to take responsibility for your own viewing. So to that, I'm just going to say right out the gate that this is a purely spoiler. I don't even think of spoilers when we're talking about stuff like this.
Well, even this, that's what I was going to say, is that, and no shade to Universal or anything, but like, it's too early to kind of say spoilers. I mean, unless, Universal really has some, backstage pass at Lucasfilm or something like that, where he got a hold of the script. I mean, a lot of stuff is going to be speculative anyway.
Well,
So
he does lend a little bit to that. He says Daryl is correct. Hayden canceled a comic convention because the production shooting schedule is now set for the 2 weeks of night shoots. So I mean, okay, I mean, if it is actually scheduled for night shoots and they're saying he couldn't make this thing because of night shoots, I'll go for that. And then of course Ted comes in and says, "It's not spoiler, it's speculation." Exactly.
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 That's what I'm saying. And they may happen to be true, as we get into it. It may come to pass that, hey, we were right, or things that we were speculating about, end up being viable. But
and I'm a little different anyway. I actually don't care about spoilers. Like there might be the rare case that if there's a detail about something that I don't know, severely impacts the movie or my enjoyment of it. I mean, you can count a handful of times where it was like some big twist or something where I actually said to myself, like, wow, I'm kind of glad I didn't know this going in. But I can't think of a single instance where even in that case, it would have really ruined the movie. It just would have maybe lessened the impact of a scene or something. I actually enjoy the spoilers a lot of times. So I'm the complete antithesis of what most people on the internet are all about, or at least on YouTube. But yeah, from this, share whatever you want. You know, that's what I'm going to say to Universal right now, dude. Just share whatever it is you want to share. It really doesn't matter here. That's what we're talking about. You know, one person spoilers, another person news. You know, right now we kind of want to see, you know, all this stuff. At least I do.
Yeah, I mean, getting back to, some of the stuff that that's going on though, as far as like Hayden Christensen, like they talked about how he kind of played this little cameo role where we saw him kind of, jumping back and forth between being Vader and Anakin.
Yeah.
They said in season 2, you won't see the Vader side of him. He was just kind of using that at the time to kind of get a message to Ahsoka. But now in season 2, we're going to see probably more just regular Anakin Skywalker, minus the the Vader suit.
See, now that's what's so weird. Because I read a different article that said we are going to see some Vader stuff. That
we might.
We actually are going to see him, which would make a little bit of sense. Now, of course, the only time it would be a little strange, though, because Ahsoka essentially finds out that Anakin is Vader during that little story arc in Rebels, where she, of course, eventually, like, first she just kind of senses him, and then I think a few episodes later or whatever, she ends up facing him. And then they have that big battle, and, that's that whole emotional thing. So it would be really tough for me, other than to see some of maybe the atrocities or, you're dealing with Vader as a character unto himself and not Anakin as Vader kind of a thing.
Or like what happened. I could see that him explaining like what happened. And in the course of that, you might see him in the Vader, how he kind of lost his humanity and became Vader.
Yeah. Blue joins us. Just good. By the way, I think Blue, because I remember, Blue, correct me if I'm wrong. I think you're the one that was sort of like, hey man, 3 a.m. I couldn't hang on because 3 a.m. was a little bit too late for me. And I answer, I'm like, wait, 3 a.m.? We went on at like 9. He's watching from the UK. That's why. So I was like,
gotcha.
So it's actually kind of nice when we have,
and maybe Blue can confirm over the
UK, right?
Exactly
right. Like, hey man, do you have any information on these shoots that are going on over there?
Could you go to south of England real quick and check out?
So apparently Universal, I think, probably watched the same video or read the same articles we did, because he basically says, I can share that Ezra Bridger has a new look. And yeah, we were going to cover that. We were going to cover that a little bit later on. But yes. And then Blue says Netherlands, actually, but that's right. Sweet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I always love, because, Ronaldo, a lot of you guys, he hasn't actually been on for a while. I'm wondering what happened to him.
I know, I might want to start calling.
I know, we need to do like a, what do they call those?
Welfare check?
Yes, a welfare check on him, just to make sure that he's okay. But he's in Honduras. So, and I know we got some people in Japan, although they've never chatted. But it is nice that we actually have people watching us from around the world, which is really cool. That always blows my mind.
It shows you how vast the Star Wars community is, too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's timeless.
But yeah, we got a lot of stuff. From just so we can kind of cover our bases here.
Yeah, why don't you
we were
just like
talking
kind of
about-
zip through all this, because we got enough people that are chatting now that let's just
we
let's
can
just get all of
into
this out there, and then we can start discussing each of the points.
Yeah, circling back. So
Yeah.
we still have the expansion of Balin's Skull. That's going to be talked about. We also have, as I think it was just Universal just said, Ezra and his new look.
Mhm.
We also have Ivana Sakno, who's taking more of a, I don't want to say a lead, but she's taking more screen time.
It should
in
be more
season 2.
prominent, I think.
Prominent, thank you.
Yeah.
Prominent look in season 2. And then not
She
a whole
should,
lot about
man.
Thrawn yet.
She was so good in Megan 2.0.
Oh yeah. And then we haven't heard much about Thrawn as far as his involvement.
No,
there's
that
some-
was something that I was,
that was-
really
yeah, surprising.
surprised that has
Me
been
too.
left out of it, is that now, maybe Universal, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe you got something that we don't, but I did think that it was a bit conspicuous that these 2 or 3 sources, and anyway, I checked and you checked, I think none of them really seemed to mention anything about Thrawn, other than the fact that we might find out what was in that cargo or whatever. Wasn't there one theory about how it might be like Maul clones or
clones.
something?
Yeah,
which,
Maul and
you know,
the
yet
Survivor
another-
press clones.
I mean,
Right.
because you can't let Maul die, right? I mean, he's got to
Exactly.
come back in like he's going to probably be in like episode 10. Like, Rey's training new Jedi, and here comes yet another Maul clone. This guy is like crazy.
I know, man.
He's more resilient than Palpatine, even.
Exactly. Admiral Akbar apparently might make his
Yes.
another appearance
Yes.
in live action.
Yep.
We might see more characters from Rebels, such as Zeb, and more from Harris and Dula, so, and of course Sabine. So there's a ton of stuff that's kind of coming up to the forefront for Ahsoka season 2. So, but the main things primarily hinge around. Oh, can't forget this. Ewan McGregor.
Right.
It's another one. Ewan McGregor might actually be making an appearance as a Force Ghost as well, and also kind of helping teach and train Ahsoka and maybe Sabine in some things as well. We all know that Ewan McGregor, forget the actress's name, but he's actually married to the woman who plays
Mary Winstead, I think.
Mary Winstead, who plays Harrison Dula.
Hmm.
So, he needs to, have a conjugal visit with the wife. Hey, while you're here.
It's funny, man. I was thinking the whole time. I was thinking that, I mean, if I were married to her, dude, I wouldn't even leave the house. I mean, it would just.
Man, especially when that one shot they had with her in those pants, those orange pants.
Yeah.
I was just like, whoa. I was
I
like,
know.
all right,
I
Obi-Wan.
was just like, all right, okay, it's- I understand. Force is strong with this one.
Right. Exactly.
But
Yeah,
the
go
fact
ahead.
that he's gonna possibly be, because again, I mean, it sounds like this is all part of the major spoiler of they're gonna do a lot more Clone Wars heavy flashbacks in this, which of course will probably then employ the young lady that plays the young Ahsoka.
Yes, I love her.
Yeah,
She's phenomenal.
she's really good. Now Universal says, I will wait and share before the show ends. Why?
Okay.
Do it now. But let me ask you this.
Do it now.
Have you actually, do you have some information that we haven't yet covered that's like some big bombshell or something? Because if you do, I want to hear it. I want to be able to
His NDA
discuss it.
says he has to wait until after.
I really want to get into this. Because again, we got some people today. I mean, that's really a surprise. I don't want to make it sound like we're like desperate and pathetic here. But a lot of times when people watch our channel, you guys know, we all know the regular people that chat in here on a regular basis. But what's kind of weird about it, and it's a phenomenon that I've noticed, and you and I have talked about this off the air as well. We'll have about, I'd say like 10 people who regularly chat, but they're never all on at the same time. It's almost like y'all are doing shifts or something. Like, oh, it's Ronaldo's week. Oh, it's Dave's week, Blue, Universal. And it's groups. That's the other thing that's really weird is that there'll be like
pockets and groups.
Yeah, like little pockets, like the same 2 or 3 people might be chatting, and then
it's
now,
like
of course,
it's like the same combination of groups.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you. It's the same combination of people. Now Ted has been on fairly weekly. When we're not playing around with when we actually come on. I mean, I feel so bad a lot of times when we have to cancel at the last minute. I know there's people that are actually waiting for us to come on, and it's like, nope, just kidding. It's 9:00. Nope, just kidding again. It's Monday. Nope, sorry. Now it's Tuesday. So, we try not to do that, but so yes, if there is some sort of like crazy spoiler that you've got that we haven't mentioned, or maybe I don't know, it's like some big insider type bombshell, please put it out there so that way we can discuss it. All right, what else we got? Anything?
So, while we're talking about bombshells and all that type of stuff, I guess we can hit another one about Ezra. So, the actor, can't think of his name at the moment either. But
I know the guy that would Game of Thrones. He was is he the Mountain? Isn't that who he played in Game of Thrones? Ezra? No, not Ezra. I'm sorry.
That's what I'm talking about, Ezra. I'm talking about Ezra.
I thought you were talking about Balin.
No.
It's like
that's Rory. Yeah.
Yes.
I was like
Rory McCann. That's his name.
Rory McCann. Yes. Rory McCann is the one for he's replacing Ray Stevenson's as Balin Skull.
Yeah.
But Ezra Bridger, he's actually cut his beard and he's actually cut his hair. So now he's kind of going back to the younger looking Ezra Bridger, not.
But here's the question though, because if you remember, because he's still, even when they showed the beardless version of that actor, if you remember, Ezra's look toward the end was like he had very close cropped hair. I mean, his hair was like super short.
Yeah.
So it makes me wonder.
Like a taper or a fade or something like that.
Yeah, I mean it almost. I mean it was it was really, really, really close cropped, and it makes me wonder if that's what he's gonna do, or is he gonna split the difference and kind of go maybe like kind of the earlier seasons where he kind of had a little bit of that Aladdin thing going. Yeah. Where, his hair was a little longer, but of course no beard. What were we joking? Like, last year he looked like he just stepped off the set of The Chosen or something because he looked like a disciple, and now
he did like one of the disciples. Yeah. I was like, whoa.
Like, exactly. I just got off of my
James or John?
Yeah.
I mean, his name is Ezra, so I mean,
yeah. Well, wrong testament maybe, but yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, it is good that he is actually going to look a little bit more like the Ezra that we are used to. Ted basically says, don't feel bad, guys. I know life happens. Yeah, we've been, like, just nailed with life, though, recently. So, again, I mean, we appreciate everybody's understanding, but we still feel bad. Just want you guys to know that.
Exactly.
Universal says, Eric Thrawn is in most of the episodes. That's good. That is good to know because, again, I understood why they held him off, but it would be nice if after they revealed this big thing at the end of season 1 with this whole plan and all that, it seems to me like they have to basically split the difference between dealing with like the more micro stuff that's going on and the more macro. And Thrawn is definitely part of the macro.
Yeah, and so so now that we're here, I'm glad we're at this point now, because I feel like now we can really kind of get into some stuff.
We can, but let me get through these couple of things that Universal said, so that way we can incorporate that into what we're talking about. So he goes on by saying, Ahsoka Season 2 will have a darker tone, and then also says it'll have a lot of fight scenes between several characters in separate confrontations.
Yes.
And then Blue chips in, says Dave Filoni is also rumored to play a character. Any guesses to who it could be? Zabrak, maybe. Well, I don't. Yeah. Who would even be right for? I mean, Dave Filoni is a character, right? I mean, he
Lothcat.
Oh, here we go. All right, so Universal's got some. He's got some stuff. He says there will be 8 episodes. Which basically makes sense because honestly, that is the average of just about every. Sure, you had some where like Obi-Wan was like 6 and Andor was 12, but by and large, the rule is an 8-episode season. So that
I really want them to do 10. I think 10 would be a very good. I think that's balanced enough, in my opinion. I feel like there's enough where you don't fatigue your audience, but at the same time, you're not like, oh, it's over already, man. Like,
well,
sucks.
See, for me, I think it should either be 9 or 12 because I kind of like that whole trilogy idea, where each group of 3 episodes is its own story arc. I honestly wish that more of the series would adopt that Andor-like structure, to be honest. So that's why I would go for either 9, so you can keep the trilogy thing, or just go for 12. But I can understand how maybe 12 might be a little too much, but I don't know, because I think all of these shows, other than Andor, have been a little bit rushed.
Yeah, if you could, and you might be able to dig in a little bit, which I'm about to do right now. I'm sorry, were you done with all of the
Yeah. Well, I mean, unless they, yeah. I mean, if I get a chat that is relevant to the conversation, I try not to do the thing, because there's a lot of YouTubers that'll do that, right? They'll have, and again, I get it, because there've been other people that have said, it's nice when you guys have a pre-recorded show, because then you just have this whole, like, discussion, and then, but again, the structure of this show is that everybody's kind of involved in it. It's not a spectator sport, really.
Right.
So I try not to let it go too long. Otherwise, a chat that comes in might reference something we said like 20 minutes ago or something. So, but by all means, continue.
So here's what I'm kind of thinking, guys and gals out here. So I think this is going to be a very interesting season, because I think some things are going to be taking place at different spots. You know how we always talk about in the original trilogy how our main characters weren't always together. They were kind of like in their own little separate little thing. And I think that's going to happen again in Ahsoka season 2, because remember, Ezra has snuck onto Thrawn's ship, but they're now out of was it Peoria? I think that's where they were. Peoria or something like that.
Something like that.
Peoria, yeah. So you have them. So you have those two there again. So once again, Ezra and Thrawn are tied together. But then now you have Ahsoka, Sabine, Baylan, and Shin Hati all stuck on Peoria. And then you have, even within that, like Baylan has kind of absconded from Shin Hati, so he's kind of like abandoned her. So she's kind of on her own. He has his own separate quest that he's trying to
Right, she
go.
hooked up with those bandits or something on that planet.
Yeah, and then now you have Sabine and Ahsoka trying to navigate and find their way. Like, okay, well, what do we do? So I think this is going to be a very interesting thing, because you kind of have some people are in the same area, have their own, but they still have their own individual journeys, and then you still have Ezra and Thrawn who are having their own thing, but they're completely away from everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, and I do hope that they maybe split things up a little bit, because again, I think that's part of what made the original trilogy so great. Even though there were parts of me actually that wish that there were more, because they would always split up. It would always be like Han, Leia, and 3PO and Chewbacca, and then Luke and R2. And there was a lot of times that I wish Luke had done more with the proper group instead of them splitting up their stories. On the other hand, you get it though, because I mean, Luke is on a different path than those guys, so it makes sense. I mean, how else are you going to tell the Jedi story? You can't really tell it effectively if he's tagging along with Han all the time. So I get that.
It would be interesting to see like this, the guys hang out. Like, you just have Luke.
Yeah, I mean, exactly.
Han and Chewie, they're
yes.
just doing,
All right. Well, before we go,
Go
Universal,
ahead.
4 filmmakers working on Ahsoka season 2, including showrunner David Filoni. David, that's funny. Jennifer Getzinger, Bryce Dallas Howard, and Anders Engstrom. Yeah. It does not surprise me that Bryce Dallas Howard is doing something, because again, I have long said that she is the MVP of Star Wars as far as I'm concerned. They should really give a lion's share of the movies over to her if it were up to me. But it is good, again, to see that Filoni's not necessarily insisting on taking the director's chair in this stuff. Because I think that his writing and his directing was actually one of the weaknesses of season 1. On the other hand,
maybe just because he had to split too much time trying to direct and write and do,
I still think there's a problem with it. He doesn't have as much live action experience, and he doesn't know how to block and how to do things for live action. He's an animation guy, and we have both said over and over again, he'll get there. It's just going to take him a while, and we really wish that he was cut his teeth on a non-Star Wars related project, even though that would be tough to do because, as you're kind of pointing out right now, I mean, he's really ensconced in it, especially being the creative director. So, yeah, maybe. I just wish it wasn't Ahsoka. Well, that's the character he knows the most, but still, it's nice that he's maybe letting some of it go, right? That he might do an episode or two, kind of like what he's done with The Mandalorian, where he does an episode or two, but then he lets other people take the helm. So that way, you're not torpedoing the whole show due to inexperience.
Spreading the blame evenly. Got you.
Well, I mean, there is that too. But I mean, don't forget, like, one of our big problems I remember last season was when there was that whole thing where Sabine and Ezra reunited, and then they were riding, trying to go to Thrawn or whatever, and it was just like they were reading off of cue cards or something, like off of a prompter. I mean, it was just the dialogue was terrible.
It was very wooden.
Very wooden, very stilted. So, well, this is interesting. Universal says season 2 will connect with the Mando and Grogu movie and will be released on Disney Plus in tentative late fall, early winter 2026. That would be nice, because obviously we're going to get the Mandalorian and Grogu movie in May of 2026, I think it was.
Yeah.
I thought they did that. I know there was talk of December, but I thought they pushed it back to May. I'm sure Universal will let us know.
Well, yeah, originally, I think some people kind of speculate that August.
Well, that we might
October
see something.
Might be Ahsoka.
We might. Well, they were saying that. I mean, I guess maybe if Mandalorian is in December, that would be the case. If it's not, then I would imagine this would happen beforehand. But then again, it depends. Because I'm trying to remember. I think that Mandalorian and Grogu, I thought it took place between 1 and 2, but I could be wrong. I forgot exactly where the Mandalorian and Grogu takes place when you're talking about the whole Mando universe timeline.
Gotcha.
I think I know it's after season 3 of The Mandalorian, because The Mandalorian and Grogu was supposed to be season 4. So that's not very difficult. And now the trifecta. Now, it's a day long remember. David joins us.
I was waiting.
Hello, gentlemen, it's Star Wars Day. Roll call has been done.
Yes.
But
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying that I think that it's important to figure out. I mean, we should really button this down. If anybody knows, let us know in the chats or whatever. We could just look it up. Like, when is the Mandalorian and Grogu supposed to be released, and when is Ahsoka season 2 going to be released? Because if Mandalorian and Grogu takes place after season 2, then obviously it would make sense for season 2 to happen first.
Right. While we were talking about directors and things like that a moment ago. One of the things I also wanted to point out was that the art director for the TV show Wednesday is actually a part of season 2 um, for Ahsoka. So I think that's going to be really cool, just as far as bringing in that creepy vibe when you need it. Also, a lot of the colors and the different types of things you could do cinematically, especially when you're, not depending on the volume. I think it's really going to make an impact.
Well, yeah, and I mean, look, here's the thing. I don't think it's any mystery to anybody that Andor season 2 especially has set the bar. Like, the people are like, okay. And not only has it set the bar as far as production-wise, but it's also the secret of what happens to be working, right? Because everybody, critics and fans alike, are going psycho over Andor. I mean, look,
That's
even
how you do
David, who's, because he's here now, he was like the staunch enemy of Andor season 1, hated it. And now absolutely adores season 2, and it actually completely turned his whole opinion around on the whole thing. So it shows you just how good Andor season 2 really is. And I think that the fact that they're, well, it's well written and executed well and all that. But in addition to that, the fact that it doesn't rely on the volume, I think is a big thing. Because if you look at a lot of the series that have failed, Obi-Wan, season... Yeah. And I guess Acolyte did rely a lot on the volume too. I mean, there's... What was the one show? Not Book of Boba Fett. Obi-Wan, obviously. There's a lot of issues with the way that these guys spent the money, because they had pretty big budgets for all these shows.
Absolutely.
Okay, so now David's asking the question. We haven't really fully addressed this yet either, so it's good. He says, are you hopeful for Ahsoka because of the success of Andor? Yes, probably because of what I'm just saying. Because Filoni, especially, had to be paying attention to this. Because he and Favreau have been behind all these series, except for Andor. Andor is the outlier. That's Tony Gilroy's. And only Tony Gilroy's. I mean, obviously, Filoni being the creative director has some weight, as does Kathleen Kennedy. But it's not a Filoni-Favreau production. And so it also happens to be the highest ranked one, or highest rated. And people just tend to love it. And so it's hard, if you're Filoni, not to look at that and go, hey, why does everybody bag on our thing, or my thing, and everybody's praising this? And it's because of some of the things we just brought up. Look, it doesn't rely on the volume. You have very well-written characters. It's not relying on fan service, although it does give us a little bit. There's it's a more mature Star Wars, and I think that because of that, that's the reasoning.
There's also talks with Universal brought this up too earlier about the fighting. So apparently this season there's going to be a lot more duels going on, and one in particular is going to be Shiati against Huang, which is going to be kind of almost like a reminiscence, kind of a callback to the Obi-Wan General Grievous thing, because I guess Huang is going to have multiple lightsabers, and almost like how Grievous had against Obi-Wan, and they're going to kind of have their old duel, and then she might be dueling Sabine again.
Yeah, that I could see. Shin dueling Huang is a little suspect to me, because Huang trained all the Jedi for 10,000 years or something. It's there's no way Shin being still kind of apprentice level, I don't know. I'm gonna have to see how that one plays out, because to me, it's a little bit one of those this thing should end in 30 seconds kind of thing.
The only thing I can say is the ability of the Force is probably going to be the equalizer in that type of battle.
Yeah, but I mean, the Force would be on Huang's side, not Shin's.
Why would it be on Huang's?
He's like, well, I mean, because right now, I would think that the Force is out of balance on the side of the bad guys. Remember, usually the Force usually kind of tries to equalize it based on whoever has the most power. Now, you can argue that the good guys have the most power because of the New Republic, but I don't know. That's actually what makes this time period so fascinating. It's not that obvious right now.
Well, that's true, but I mean, Huang is not a Force user, though.
No, but I mean, he's trained all the Jedi and lightsaber skills. Now, it's true. If this was a Force contest, I would say, well, he'd be screwed. But if it's a lightsaber dueling contest,
the only reason why I say is because
she's not that powerful in the Force yet. I mean, if it were Balin going up against him, I would have a different attitude about it.
Well, yeah, I mean, but I guess what I'm saying is, we don't know how powerful she becomes as in season 2, is where I'm getting at. And so if she becomes, let's just say, because everybody's more powerful than I'm more powerful than Sabine at this point. So you got to think about it. If he's training younglings on the Force, I mean, on lightsaber duels, but to actually duel a master we've never seen.
Well, but the thing is, she's not.
The Force you're using.
Who's training her? Because she was still basically at Balin's. Like, it wasn't like she was really that powerful, even at the end. And I mean, now Balin's gone. She's with a bunch of bandits now. So where's she getting the training from? How is she progressing? Well, now, granted, I mean, there could be like some thing that in the first episode that we're like, okay, whatever. Or maybe she's got homework or something. I don't know. But I mean,
found a holocron.
And it doesn't have to make sense to be in Star Wars. We know that.
No, but what I'm saying is, like, the more you grow in the dark side, like, you know, if you use it and you're drawing upon that, I mean, I think it just naturally is going to, you may not be as
yes, that's true.
Fine-tuned.
Right. I mean, I guess with the dark side, the advantage is all emotion based, and the more you just let go, the more powerful you can be, even if you don't necessarily. But then again, it's always been that a Sith or dark side user master has to not even necessarily fine tune, although that's true. I mean, obviously, it's not going to be fine tuned; it'll be rough around the edges. And that's I was just about to say. She's already been portrayed as kind of unhinged like Kylo.
Mm-hmm.
Without the guidance.
She reminds me of.
I mean, it would be interesting to see what happens. And a lot of people speculate that she's going to turn into a good guy anyway, because it's not. That's the thing that I like about both Balin and Shin, is that, especially Shin, she doesn't really have any real like allegiance to anybody. I mean, except to Balin.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she's just kind of up for grabs, really. And my whole thing is that if Asajj can go good, then so can she, very easily.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have to see.
Absolutely.
Let's get some of these chats in. Okay, Universal says Season 2 started production on May 5th. It's tentatively set to end production on September 26th. The Mandalorian and Grogu movie is going to come out in May of 2026.
Mm-hmm.
And Ted liked your comment about you being more powerful than Sabine.
Yes.
Saying that you'll be using the Force to grab the TV remote control from across the room.
Absolutely. That would be like the first thing grab my phone.
I would be doing that. I would be using it
to the plug and the outlet.
Mm-hmm.
So you just use the Force to make sure you just all types of stuff. I'll
discipline my cats and get them off of furniture that they don't belong on.
Right.
Just a little bit of lighting. Yeah, exactly. And then, of course, Universal goes on to say the World Between Worlds returns. That doesn't necessarily surprise me either. And I'll tell you why. Because I think the World Between Worlds, this is the one thing that I thought, in spite of Ahsoka's, the weaknesses of Season 1, I actually thought they handled the world between worlds very well. Because when that was first introduced in Rebels, I think it was introduced in Rebels, I was really skeptical because you could see all kinds of abuses of that.
Yeah.
Right? That basically gives you the license to cheaply write a story because you can always just get out of everything between the world between worlds. In fact, I remember one thing that I thought was hilarious because I actually agreed with this is that I remember somebody writing somewhere that, hey, if they want to reboot the sequel trilogy, just make it a world between worlds thing. Like, well, that's not really what happened. That was kind of a world between worlds. That's like one possible thing. Here's what really happened, right?
Now we get into the whole Doctor Strange thing. Like, how many versions of this did you see?
Exactly. Like almost like a multiverse thing, which is really
that's basically
the
what
Star
it
Wars
is.
version of what the world between worlds is, right? I mean,
Yep.
it's essentially the multiverse. But they could have used it in Ahsoka, and they could have done it cheaply, but they didn't. And I thought it was, one, really cool how they ended up using it and portraying it exactly as it was in Rebels. I mean, I thought that they nailed just the visual aspect of it.
Oh, yeah, the total look of it? Absolutely.
Yes. But the beautiful part about it was they made it a part of the story without a reliance on it or an over-reliance on it. And they didn't use it to, cheaply get from point A to B in some plot point or something. So my hat's off to them there. There was a lot of mistakes in Ahsoka season 1. We all know that, but they did that. So that said, I actually wouldn't be opposed to see the world between worlds return for season 2.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it. I'll be kind of, I don't know if I'm shocked because it seemed like that would, they would try to move away from that and just kind of continue the story and not go back to that. But who knows? Like I said, it just depends on what the story is.
Exactly. I think it really depends on what the story is and what they're trying to do. And are they going to use that as a device for the flashbacks? Because that's pretty much what they were using it for then.
I was going to say that, yeah, but if you're using it for the device or the flashbacks thing,
what's the alternative? Do a Family Guy? Hey, you remember the time that we, it's...
But yeah, it's just...
It's like, Anakin, are you really going to do that? Yeah, just kind of like I did at the Battle of, whatever. I mean, it's like
Right.
It's a really clever way. It's a really clever way of... Yeah, exactly. It's a clever way of them doing flashbacks that is more Star Wars appropriate. Because remember, that was one of the things that Lucas sort of established for the Star Wars universe. He wouldn't do flashbacks. And I didn't really hate the way they did them for, what was it, Rise of Skywalker?
Oh, yeah. I'm thinking about Last Jedi. Sorry.
No, yes. But I mean, at the same time, I do like the relatively flashback-free approach. However, sometimes it's necessary. And of course, if you want to, shoehorn in Obi-Wan and Anakin and, there was even talk of maybe Padme making an appearance, so Natalie Portman comes in. You kind of have to do it in a flashback. And it does pertain to the story. So the world between worlds is a very Star Wars-y way of doing a flashback kind of a thing. So because of that, I mean, I wouldn't really be opposed to it. I wouldn't really care either way. I mean, if it's not in there, it wouldn't bother me. But, at the same time, I think it's fine. Again, because I have confidence in the way that they used it in season 1, I don't necessarily think they're going to abuse it for season 2. Now, David's got chat here. He says, Andor is a template for the Star Wars shows because it tells a story and doesn't get distracted by agenda, trying to be a cultural activist through film or some other side story. Now, I'm going to need a second here when he says Andor is a template for Star Wars shows, because that's a phrase I never thought that I would ever hear. But
a day long remembered.
Absolutely correct, though, on a number of fronts. Number one, yes, unlike The Acolyte and some other shows, it's not trying to cram a social justice agenda down your throat. it's also not trying to comment or be a commentary on modern times through Star Wars, other than the very macro way that Lucas has always done it. And it's just basically a good character-driven story. So if you use Andor as a template for all the Star Wars shows moving forward, which I think they are going to do, because you can't argue with the success. I mean, the fans hate it like everything, but they all love Andor. Critics love Andor. Everybody loves Andor. And so you can't argue with that, because everybody has generally been pretty toxic about all the shows, and it's all been the same thing, right? It's like everybody's going, there were good parts of it, or I kind of like to hear, it's getting to the point where when you're doing the reviews, you're basically waiting for it to fall apart. I mean, how many shows recently have you and I done where we're doing a review going, yep, episode 1 is fantastic, it's really cool, well, let's hope they keep this up for episode 2. And we're sort of doing it episode by episode until maybe like 4 or 5 out of an 8 episode show, and we're now reasonably sure that, okay, they probably won't jack this thing up. So, there is that. Now, Universal says it's not being filmed on sound stages that season 1 was made on, using new and different filming techniques in season 2, which is what we're sort of alluding to here, is the fact that one of the big updates is that it looks like, again, I have to preface this because it's not like we really have any inside knowledge here. It looks like they're going to rely less on the volume and more on perhaps shooting locations, like maybe Andor-like shooting locations.
Yeah, real spaces.
Yeah, utilizing, because again, I mean, the Acolyte had like this ridiculous budget. The Acolyte had more of a budget than some of the earlier films.
Yeah, I was going to say some of the actual big
like the actual big budget movies. And I remember when you and I were reviewing The Acolyte, you guys could go back and watch it. I would encourage it, actually. It's pretty hilarious. So right out the gate, I was still hopeful. You hated it like right from the get-go.
Out the gate, I was like, oh, heck no.
And I'm like, okay, wait a second now. Yes, there are some things that we can't love about this, but there's hope.
Hold on. Right, yeah.
And then what was funny was in episode 2, we're kind of like, you actually switch where you're like, okay, yeah, this is good. Now I'm hopeful. And then episode 3 hits. We're like, uh-oh. Because that's when you get the singing witches and, all this other stuff, right? But the point is, we're always having to take it by an episode-by-episode basis, where we're just ready for the thing to fall apart at any moment. With Andor, it's the opposite. You actually expect that you're going to get something good, and you're hoping that it doesn't get messed up. And so, consequently, after 12 episodes, and keep in mind, Andor, both season 1 and 2, were exactly twice the amount of episodes as the Obi-Wan series. And they didn't mess it up. Obi-Wan, again, that one I kind of have mixed feelings about. There was a lot of things that I loved about Obi-Wan. There's a lot of things I didn't love about Obi-Wan. But they still need to get back on track. And this is something that you and I talked about as well. On a lot of other shows, we said that Lucasfilm is still learning how to do Star Wars on TV.
Yeah.
They don't know how to do Star Wars television yet. I think they nailed it with Andor, but you got to be able to do that and maintain that quality with all your shows.
All right. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting, definitely. I mean, like this, as more information comes out about Ahsoka season 2, as far as closer to the plot, of course, if there are any more characters that we need to be made aware of, like we mentioned before, we haven't heard anything about Thrawn yet, so I'm curious as to what that's going to be. I really want to know how they're going to advance Balin's character. I'm really curious about that. So these are some of the things that I'm really looking for answers to. Everything else I'm kind of patient on. It's good to know that Hayden Christensen is coming back and having a more of a prominent and pivotal role in this. So, I know that's probably going to be really good. And just to wait to see what kind of surprises we get. Because I will say, like, I was surprised in Ahsoka when they had that whole tribunal thing and 3PO and R2 showed up. I was just like, oh, no way. Like, and they kind of confirmed. I was like, okay, that was cool. That was a great use of those characters. So
Yeah, it was.
It's little things like that was like, okay, you know what? That was awesome.
Right, but then they turn around and, you got that one girl on the base, like, for the Empire and all this stuff, and it's like,
oh, yeah.
And everybody's still doubting them. I mean, it was like, really? Like, how much more proof do you people need that something is going on here? I mean, it gets to the point where they write these characters to be so stupid, but they're not previously written stupid.
Yeah.
It's like, no, the New Republic, especially under Leia, would never be this dense. And even if you want to say, okay, well, it's below Leia's pay grade, she just doesn't know, it's kind of like that mid-level or whatever. Nobody, I mean, you had like all these other people. You had, you had Hera like trying to tell him. It's like, this is one of your most decorated, military people, and you're not listening to her. It's like, it's just lazy writing. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, Universal says, he says, backstory is Shin Hati leading into Ahsoka to Part 1. Ooh, I sense a novel. Okay, he goes, a short passage from the upcoming Star Wars Women of the Galaxy book reveals that she joins forces with these bandits, and continues her crusade to bring down her enemies. Okay, so I guess that it? Is there a Part 3? Well, we'll see. So yeah, that's good that there is, because that's one thing that I have to say is different from the current me versus the me of like 20 or 30 years ago. 30 years ago especially, I bought like every like book, encyclopedia, anything that had the Star Wars name on it that gave me more information. I bought it. I haven't really done that lately, and it's not so much that I'm not curious. I think a lot of the fact that you can get a lot of this stuff on the internet probably helps. But I don't know. Oh, there is a Part 3. Me? I knew it. I sensed a novel.
It's a trilogy.
That's right, Universal. Is this a trilogy? Or are we going to break Star Wars tradition and do a Part 4? Or is that Part 1 of a new trilogy? He says, Shin teams with bandits on Peridia. Yeah, that's it. And resumes hunt for Sabine and Ezra. Without Baylan to temper it, Shin's impulsiveness could lead to challenging scenarios on far-flung planet where stranded. Oh, my cat. Heard him meowing in the background.
Yes.
Well, I think that, and this is, I actually thought that Shin and Baylan were probably one of the most interesting parts of Season 1.
Absolutely.
I wish they had featured them more, to be honest.
Yeah. He's totally like a Count Dooku, and I love that about him. Like, he's just...
Yeah, exactly. He's kind of like regal. He's not really some evil Sith Lord kind of guy. He's more like a dark Jedi, really. Yeah, where he was more pragmatic and practical about the whole thing. He wasn't, twirling his proverbial mustache. He was less of a villain and more like an anti-hero. And I like the fact that they established Baylan and Shin the way that they did, and the fact that they're different. They're different characters than what we've seen before. And I'm looking forward to seeing more of them. And man, I wish Ray Stevenson hadn't died.
I know.
But
I know.
Rory McCann, though, I think he's going to do a really good job. He basically has the same look, and he's a really great actor, too. So I think he will do the character justice. It's just like it really broke my heart when they recast Jimmy Smits for
oh yeah,
for Bail Organa in Andor.
Andor, yeah.
Well, Benjamin Bratt, I thought he nailed the character, though. It's just he just wanted to see Jimmy Smits there for the continuity. So I am looking forward to seeing more Balin and Shin. And so that actually kind of turns it to you and then eventually to our audience. What do you want to see from season 2, given all these updates that we've gotten? Half of them from Universal. Should have had him host the show.
Well, like I said before, I just really want to see the furtherance of Balin and Shin. I want to see what they're going to really do with Sabine, because you kind of brought a spotlight on her at season 1, and then you bailed on her, which arguably so. I get why, but now we still need to know, like, what's her purpose.
Well, that's a good point, right? Because one of our criticisms, our big criticisms, the show's called Ahsoka, but yet it should have been called Sabine for the first like half of the season, because it really had more to do with her than it did Ahsoka.
Exactly. So, just that I want to see how Roy actually takes on the role of Balin. I'm confident he'll be able to do it, but I'm just curious as that. And like I said, I'm confident that Hayden Christensen is going to do his thing. If we get some more surprises like Obi-Wan popping up, or maybe another R2-D2 thing, or right, exactly.
Well, here's a question for you though.
Yo.
Because remember, we were burned, right? We had huge high hopes, especially after seeing the trailer for season 1. We thought it was just going to be the most slamming, like, this is it, man. Right? This is going to be what Star Wars should be.
Please don't remind me.
And then it wasn't. Well, but again, we're in the same position right now, though.
I know.
You know, I can feel our expectations being heightened and growing, and it makes me wonder, are you going to say, okay, perhaps Filoni and all those guys learned, and, you know, maybe there's a good reason to be hopeful and optimistic? Or are you cautiously optimistic?
I'm cautiously optimistic.
I'm not, man. I'm fully in.
Really?
Yes. I don't know what it is. I'm probably, hey, it'll make it more fun, but.
Hey, I mean, all or nothing. You put all your chips in.
And I think, you know, I'll tell you why. I'm not cautiously optimistic. Like, I'm all in on this. And this wasn't true like a half a year ago, by the way. The reason why I'm fully optimistic now is because these updates that I am seeing is pretty much evidence to me that they have learned from their mistakes of season 1. It's like, hey, we're not going to shoot as much on the volume anymore. You know, they're trying to be a little bit more, I think, respectful and careful with these characters, the way that they're bringing these people in, the way that they're framing at least the few details we have of the plot. It seems to me, anyway, like they have learned their lessons. Now, maybe not. So, obviously, I'm going to have to, you know, this is still early in the game. It could change. I can go back to cautiously optimistic. I could be, you know, pessimistic maybe by the time, you know, it just depends on the information that comes out. But based on the information that we're getting right now, I think I'm starting to move into that, hey, I might be fully on board with this. Because, again, I think Andor Season 2 did a lot. I think that shook a lot of people up. I think it made people realize, and it shook them out of their complacency. Like, you know, we're supposed to be these experts on what makes Star Wars Star Wars. And here's this guy, Tony Gilroy, wasn't even a fan. And he's over there making some really compelling television in the Star Wars universe that the Star Wars fans are responding to even more than Filoni, who's supposed to be the, you know, second only to Lucas guy. Yeah. You know, that had to have really just like stabbed him right through the heart.
Well, yeah, I think while I understand your optimism, for me, I'm like, okay. I'm of the mindset like, all right, you know what? I walk down the alley, dog bites me, you know, hey, bad dog. I go down that same alley, that's my fault. You know, and so my thing is that you have to show me now. Show me that you like, and it's kind of like the best thing I've always heard was that, you know, the best way to apology is to change behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I just have to see it. Like, you have to, I get it, and then it should be that way. But then, you can fix these problems and come up with a whole host of other ones. Like,
well,
okay,
that's
you
true.
fix those, and then you gave me a whole bunch of other crap. Now,
so is it safe to say, using a line from Return of the Jedi, that Daryl does not share my optimistical appraisal of the situation?
Exactly.
All right.
They should double up their efforts.
All right, so David says, this version of Papa Smurf needs to prove himself as a big bad. Dr. Ooze was a better villain.
Ivan Ooze from the Power Rangers movie. Wow.
Nice.
That's crazy.
Nice.
Crazy work,
nice.
David.
Oh, here we go. 'Cause Universal Senses is the end of the show. He says, now I can share the biggest spoilers. Daryl alluded to one of them. Are you sure you want these? He says, I don't want to spoil this for you guys. Dude, we want them. Do it. Come on. I mean, we just went through this whole diatribe in the beginning.
Die.
Hey, listen, people, well, here's the thing. People actually probably changed, like started watching this episode of our show and probably changed because we veered off on this whole discussion about how we love spoilers and all this other stuff. But yeah, absolutely. Now, I would say, though, there's other people that don't want them, although I don't see how you can even consider it really. I mean, even if it turns out to be true, I kind of like knowing these things going in, to be honest. I'm a spoiler guy.
Watch. He saved a bunch of money by switching to Geico.
Well, that wouldn't be a spoiler. Actually, before he types this thing in, you said you alluded to it. What'd you allude to? I'm not paying attention to you half the time.
I know. Trust me.
Politely waiting to make your point so I can take my. It's just kind of like, all right, dude, that's nice. Are you finished? I really want to talk here.
Oh my God, I hate you. I hate you. Yes.
So basically, Ted says Yoda is Ahsoka's dad. Well, that's not a spoiler. We know that already.
Yoda is Ahsoka's dad?
That's Ted saying that, not Universal. That's not the big spoiler.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, like, wait a minute. I was like, wait, what?
Oh, that would be.
I was about to say, wait, cut this off now. Wait a minute.
Universal says, I am delayed on YouTube chat. Bad weather here. Sorry, gentlemen.
Oh,
you just type that in. Type the spoiler.
Yeah, forget your stinking apology. I want
it's like, right, you just gave me a weather report. You couldn't use that to chat.
Let's not beat up Universal.
Yeah, I know, it's probably not good.
Keep it to myself.
Yeah, exactly.
Dang,
like,
Eric,
well, that's your attitude.
Right.
Like stupid Americans.
Right.
All right. So here it comes, I think. He says, they finally revealed what Yoda's first name is. Yoda is his last name. His first name is blank.
Oscar.
Oscar.
I just thought my baloney has a first name.
See, basically, remember when we were like, it was like you're going to find out his name was like Yoda Johnson or something? Well, okay. What is it?
Well, I guess it kind of makes sense.
I guess he wants us to guess, maybe.
You know, Master Plo Koon, you got Master Windu, Master Kenobi. So I guess Master Yoda, that makes sense. It tracks well. Like that would be his last name.
Well, then that makes you wonder then. I mean, not to go off on like another old tangent, but then I guess maybe Grogu is his last name.
Yeah, but he's not a master yet, though.
No, but I'm just saying, he's the same species, though.
Yeah, but I mean,
so if Yoda is Yoda's last name, it doesn't matter if he's a master or not, just his last name.
Well, because you put master in, like...
Well, I'm not saying he's Master Grogu. I'm saying that Grogu is his last name.
Well, what I'm saying is that, like, most people Like when I was a kid, I used to sometimes I thought this was the coolest thing in the world too when I was a kid. But like sometimes you would have like you should get this from older people. You might have had experiences too, Eric, where somebody will Master Vancel. So I would get like Master, like Master Sanders, and it was just like, oh, okay. And I thought they would make it.
Yeah,
Some little
just
Star
don't
Wars
call me
reference.
master, dude. That's not a good look. Not in 2025. No, you're right. I mean, I
Just
understand.
had to do it, didn't he? Just had
Come
to.
on, dude. I mean, it's like
I
the
know,
jokes
I
write
know.
themselves when it comes to this stuff. All right, so David says, "Is yoga?" I mean, he means Yoda. Yoga would be great. Yoga Yoda.
That was a
Really,
joke.
it's like-
Yes,
yeah,
it's a
it's a
joke.
joke.
Yeah.
It's a joke. And then of course, Ted says David's a joke. And then
He
Universal.
was about to have a whole fit.
Universal's like, okay, here they come. He's still teasing. He's relishing this, man.
Oh, I know he is.
He's enjoying this moment. And then Ted says, and maybe not a good one. No, apparently it's a good joke, dude. Because, all right, he's setting us up. He says a scene. Thrawn sitting in a command bridge. Stormtroopers fighting the New Republic as AT-ATs are dropped from carriers. And night troopers on either side of Thrawn himself.
Like an audiobook. I like it.
I know, this is great. It's like he's writing it, I'm narrating it.
It's like AI.
I know, this is it's just like a whole little setup kind of a thing. All right, I like this. But, keep in mind we have an algorithm to obey here, so give us the name of this thing.
So just Oscar. Like my baloney has a first name.
Oscar Yoda. Actually doesn't sound bad.
Oscar Yoda.
Oscar Yoda. If it's not his name, it should be. You know what, though? Honestly, this is almost the
It's
same. Because remember how we found out that Palpatine was like Sheev Palpatine?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's kind of the same type of deal, in a way. But I, honestly, would like to know Yoda's species, even more so than his name. That's something that I really wish that... I know Lucas has this thing where he never wants that revealed or something, but it would be nice. I guess it's not 100% necessary, but...
He's Kryptonia. That's why
Yes,
he's green.
there you go.
He can't be around Superman because then he'll make him. Never mind.
Yeah, David. I have to wait till it pops up. David says, I love this show. Mr. Vancel, don't call me master. I love Sundays.
Well, sir, I just want to. Okay, never mind.
Universal, I hope you're happy that you're basically holding up this entire show. With this reveal that you promise. That better not be glorified fan fiction. I'm just putting that out there right now.
We're flying and we'll go to the Netherlands. And
All right, here comes another scene. Sabine and Ahsoka riding what look to be howlers on Peridia and fighting raiders, while the New Republic is shown fighting a group of Night Sisters and Captain Enoch. By the way, I like Captain Enoch.
as long as they don't do him like Captain Phasma.
You remember Captain Enoch, right?
No, I'm just saying as long as they don't use him like Captain Phasma.
Well, yeah, right, yeah.
That's all I'm saying. It's like,
Well, you know what?
people
He's a
gilded
cool
faces
looking,
and
yep,
That's
stormtrooper
what I'm
type.
saying.
He is basically the
male
Yeah.
version of Phasma. That's what I'm saying. Like, as long as you don't use him like that, we're fine. I don't think he's going to reveal the actual name. I think he's just giving us scenes that he's heard from.
Well, I'm sure he is, but he's probably... Look, he did say, and we did say this, he said he had a bunch of spoilers that he was going to give before the show ends. At this rate, the show will never end. But he did say that he's going to give it before the show ends. All he's doing is just giving us all these scenes, and then he's probably going to cap it off with the Yoda thing. One could only hope.
Dimitri
Another
Yoda.
scene. Thrawn's Star Destroyer, the Chimera, is shown, including a masked Night Sister warrior. That would be cool. Well, they did already reveal Captain Paleon was in this. That was one of the cool things that
he was going to be, or did they?
No, that
show
he
him?
was. They actually showed him. They showed him in season 1.
One?
Yeah, I was
don't
so
remember.
happy.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to go back and
Paleon
watch
was
that. Was that when
what the scene
was that the end when Ezra popped out the little?
It might have been, or it might have been somewhere. I don't really recall. I just remember being really excited because Paleon was finally canon.
Canonized.
Yeah, because remember that in the new books that Zahn wrote, Eli Vanto was kind of the new Paleon.
Yeah.
Another scene. I'm gonna get the whole season right now. Another scene. Hera Syndulla and Chopper are featured alongside New Republic soldiers, hiding from Enoch on what may be the Night Sisters' home of Dathomir, the first planet Thrawn went to. We're just getting all kinds of nuggets of wisdom. Of course, we were going to wrap up the show like 20 minutes ago.
Well, now you all write this stuff down, so then when the season comes out, if this stuff doesn't pan out, we are coming after you.
Exactly, right.
We're taking a trip to the Netherlands.
Am I going to the Netherlands?
I know, right?
All right, I think we're getting it now. Here we go. Big reveal. The name that they revealed for Yoda was, we'll either say it's Mikan or Mikan. I don't understand it, but that's what it is. Mikan Yoda. Sounds like you're
Mikan Yoda.
swearing.
I know.
Mikan Yoda all...
I know.
What, you don't look happy. That's Mikan Yoda again.
Mention Yoda. Yoda's always mentioning
Mikan, Michin. It's Star Wars, so you never know how they're actually spelling
Exactly.
or pronouncing this stuff, right? Oh, he's got another scene. Another scene. Ezra Bridger is shown suiting up in what looks like a New Republic pilot's jumpsuit. Which, by the way, was also for the Mandalorian and Grogu things, Sigourney Weaver. I remember they actually had that one thing. And Ted says, and here it is, all this time I thought it was toe, as in, or two, as in to Yoda.
Toyota.
Toyota. Oh, man.
Oh.
No reward is worth this.
Yeah.
So, being that you guys are killing us over here, now would be a good time to mention our Buy Me a Coffee donation link. Where if you go to Buy Me a Coffee, do I still have that graphic in here somewhere? Yes, I do. And I am putting it up. All right, so.
David did it, so should you.
Yeah, David did it, so you guys should do it. You can actually buy different levels. You could either do the buymeacoffee.com/head-to-head-SW and throw us $1 or $2 or $5 or whatever. Or you could do the monthly thing. You join at this level, even though David has yet to receive all this stuff. Like the t-shirt that we still owe him. We'll get it to you, buddy. We will actually honor all this stuff. There was a video that only David has seen, and still only David has seen. He did get to co-host, do the guest appearance on our show. You guys watched the Thanksgiving show that we did last year. You'll see him. And, yeah, there's all kinds of other little things that we're trying to do. Because, again, we want to make this stuff worth your while. So, you know, we would appreciate that. Of course, also don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. I kind of like to do that as a full screen graphic instead of what most people do. Why not, right? All right. So now we got another scene from Universe. Man, you got a lot of these. Shin Hati is shown facing the Jedi droid Professor Huang. We talked about this earlier. Was seen wielding 4 different lightsabers on Peridia, looking not unlike General Grievous.
That's the one I alluded to.
That's the one you alluded to. And then Ted says, even my daughter said that was a cringeworthy joke. Hey, man.
That's what he does.
Daughter's lips to God's ears, right? Let's see. We got another one coming in from Universal. Another scene showing the dark tone. New Republic soldiers shown on what must be Dathomir, really, supporting the idea that the Night Sisters will continue to be key allies to Thrawn and the Imperial Remnant. Which, again, I'm happy to see this because this is a little bit more in line with what we saw in the expanded universe, now called Legends. That, to me, is nice. If they actually start maybe borrowing more or at least getting a lot more heavy influence from the old expanded universe, I would be so happy. Remember when there was that whole thing where they were going to actually make Heir to the, like Filoni was going to make Heir to the Empire or something?
Mm-hmm.
Then there was talk that they might do the Thrawn trilogy from the expanded universe as an animated, like 3 animated movies or something. So that way fans can get it, but it doesn't really screw with the timeline. See, now I would be down with that.
Yeah. I think they did an animation version. Yeah, I'm all.
Yeah, and get the original. Well, I mean, minus Carrie Fisher, of course. Well, I mean, you could AI her.
AI her, yeah.
You know, they did that with James Earl Jones. They could totally train AI to do her voice.
Yep.
Of course, the state would have to basically.
Oh, Billy.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, we need you. We need you to sign something really quick. Another scene: Sabine Wren on Peridia, likely exploring the ancient Dathomiri kingdom the Night Sisters abandoned when they left for the main Star Wars galaxy. That would be interesting. I don't know. What do you think of that?
Very Wednesday. Well, when we talk about the art director from Wednesday, I mean that
would, yes.
Looks, that tracks well.
Absolutely. If you're talking about Dathomir, and Ted's like, Universal, are you on set or just able to read the scripts? Great info.
I know, man. He's got his hands. Watch. Now they're like...
Universal's really Kathleen Kennedy.
No, we make too many female jokes on here.
That's true. Plus, every time because we always assume that it's a guy because we talk about Star Wars. Remember Voyager? She didn't actually correct us. Like, we had been saying he, like, for 2 years, and she finally said, by the way, I'm a girl or something, and we're like, oh.
Whoa.
Well,
sorry.
That just makes the last 2 years mildly awkward. Thanks for correcting us right away on that one.
I did say something before.
Yeah, well, we haven't heard from Voyager in a while. I hope she still watches. Another scene. Thrawn's undead night troopers will continue to be a threat and supports the theory that the Great Mothers will revive their fellow Night Sisters now that they've returned to Dathomir. That's something that I also thought was pretty cool. And I remember we talked about this whenever we float the idea of a Star Wars horror movie. Mm-hmm. The whole, like, undead trooper thing is a really cool concept. And I think it's kind of original. I don't know if everybody else stands on that one, but I like that one. All right. See if anything else pops up. If not, well, you can just put the rest of them in the comment section, and I'll do my best to comment on them as time goes on.
Watch it. Picture it. Sicily. 19.
Yeah, exactly. So here's the PDF ebook that's on the way. We don't realize that we're actually getting the novelization of Ahsoka.
Right. Rose, Blanche, and Sophia, actually.
Yeah, well, you know, another thing that we could do, too, is pitch our eventual...
Entertainment Exchange?
Yeah, the Entertainment Exchange channel. If you guys haven't subscribed to that yet, go ahead and do it. There's no videos on it yet. The Entertainment Exchange. We are going to start producing shows on that at some point soon. That's going to be a show that'll be like this, but we'll be talking about everything. Like anything, movies, TV, maybe read a book or two. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, once Universal finishes writing it.
Yes, more scenes. Large golem-like machines, droids battling Ahsoka and Sabine on Peridia. It's a part 1, which means there's a part 2.
How many parts do you have in total? That's what I need to know.
Yeah. Hopefully 3. I'm sure typing as fast as possible. I can just imagine if John Campea did this. We're still small, so we're not at the Campea level, so we could do this. But I would like to think that even if I were, we were like this huge channel or something, that we would still want to, honor our audience and do stuff like this. It was actually kind of fun, though.
Oh, yeah, definitely. This is why we say, we love when you guys all kind of come on at one time. Because now we can kind of hang out with everybody, not just like, certain groups and sections.
Right. Yeah, it is kind of nice. Not being held hostage, of course, but waiting for chats to come in. But,
Mick and Yoda.
Mick and Yoda. It's going to be a thing now. This is going to be a thing forever. Even if that doesn't end up panning out, like that was just something to throw people off the trail, it will forever, ever be a joke. You have no idea
what you just done.
What you have done. You have given us jokes for like the next 10 or 15 years. What else was I reading about? There was some other Star Wars thing that I remember I wanted to mention. It was some update on something, and it might have been on Ahsoka or something. Or it might not have been. Because we're starting to actually see some Star Wars news trickling out.
Yeah, I'm just really curious as to, after the Mandalorian Grogu movie, what's going to be the next film?
Yeah, because they keep canceling that whole Rey thing. It's like, I mean, how can you... If I were Daisy Ridley, I'd be like, look, you guys, I need a really strong... Because she's probably turned down a bunch of stuff.
She's thinking like, okay, I'm going to have to, suit up again.
Well, I mean, look, the bottom line is this, especially... I mean, unless you're like a Harrison Ford or somebody that really breaks out of it. I mean, Star Wars... The plus side is you're forever known as this character. It's also the downside. There's nothing that you're going to do that's going to be bigger than Star Wars. So it's like you just accept that fact,
Unless you're Samuel L. Jackson.
Right. Now it's not like she hasn't been in, but remember, Samuel L. came into it already famous though.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, if you're already when I give Harrison Ford because that was really the movie that put him on the map. Like, he was an unknown pretty much. And...
Yeah, Liam Neeson and Harrison Ford, and Samuel L. Jackson don't have that,
Right. But the difference is, out of all the people that you mentioned, Harrison Ford was the only one that really got his start in Star Wars. Sure, he was in American Graffiti, but nobody knew. Of course, it didn't hurt that he actually went on and played Indiana Jones, like, right after that, and then started doing a bunch of other stuff. But he broke out of it. All right, he says, one of the machines' strong resemblance to skeletal kaiju monsters drawn for unfinished Clone Wars arc, where Ahsoka and Anakin would have explored secret Sith shrine located beneath Coruscant's Jedi Temple. Says, these ancient machines may be guarding whatever it is Balin's skull is searching for, and its connections to the Mortis gods, the father, son, and daughter. That'd be kind of cool. I mean, I'm liking all of these things so far. I mean, it's actually making me look more forward to the show. Man, what was I just about to say? It was a Star Wars thing, too. Like, I really wanted to point this out. Ah, this sucks. Oh, it wasn't a Star Wars thing. So, speaking of kaiju monsters, So you remember the 1960s Ultraman series?
Mm-hmm.
So it would be like Ultraman or Johnny Sacco, like one of those. Well, what I
Yep.
recently discovered, and I had no idea, like I knew that in Japan they made like a bunch of other more modern Ultraman series. But what I didn't know was that there was an Ultraman series called Ultra 7 that was made only 2 years after the original Ultraman. So it was made in 68. And then they had a third one called Return of Ultraman that was done in 71. I had no idea these existed, so I've been watching these now. And then there's this more modern, there was like this Ultra 7X that was remade. It's sort of like a remake of the 1968 Ultra 7, but it was made in 2007, and it's really good. I have to admit, it's pretty good. All right, Universal, very important episode. It'll be a big mystery. The son's there, the father's there, most of the daughters there. Stress daughters.
Mm.
Oh, they're talking about
I
the
saw that.
statues, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's supposed to be, I guess, some significance that the daughter statue is not fully there.
Well, no, it's significant that there's more than one. Daughter is plural.
Well, he had it as exclamation, as in, see,
I can look.
like
Daughters.
possessive. The daughter's statue.
Go back before that.
Sons, father's there, and most of the daughter is there.
I think that could be, but it could be more than one. But hey, I mean, grammatically, you would be correct, Eric, if that's the case.
Yeah, it's basically a contraction for daughter is.
Is right.
It's not even the possessive one. It's daughter is. The father is there. The son is there. The daughter is there. But I mean, it's still weird that they actually introduced that at the end of season 1. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense because you could get a lot of story there, and if you want to actually lift the whole Mortis Gods thing, because that was a significant little chunk that ended up influencing, the rest.
The whole,
Yeah. I mean, I would imagine that would make a lot of sense, but it's still kind of interesting that they would bring that out because, don't forget, now you got to somewhat explain all this to people who have no idea what that is. All right, it says the second season will culminate in an awesome confrontation between Ahsoka Tano and the fallen Jedi Knight Baylan Skoll. It says Ahsoka with her lightsaber ignited and another image of Baylan standing on a snowy cliffside looking at Ahsoka and Sabine's T6 shuttle in the distance. Interesting. I'm really curious on the source of these spoilers, though. Because there's a lot.
Yeah. He's like, I'm not giving them my sources.
Well,
As a good journalist.
no, and I think he actually was going to give me sources on Superman. He was going to do it in the Discord. Which that's another thing, by the way, too. The Discord that we have. I do go in there a lot. I see you guys sometimes posting things in there, but I would love to get that community more active. Don't forget to check in there, too, nightly. Because a lot of times, if you look in the Call of Duty lobby in our Discord channel, I'll be in there, like voice chatting the whole shot. I mean, even if you're not playing, you can still come in there and talk to me. I'll talk to you guys while I'm playing. I don't care. So you can check that out. There's a lot to go into in the Discord, and I'm a big fan of Discord because it's a social media. It's like a Zoom type of a thing. It's a forum-based, like a Reddit type of a thing. I mean, there's like a lot in there that's like a one-stop shop, and because we love our little community, it's nice to talk to you guys, outside of that stuff. All right. Well, I think anything else that he chats in, we can just comment on after the fact. Oh, there's another one. just about to end it, too. Says Harrison Duelist, Ghost, and Phantom 2, as well as multiple Imperial and New Republic starfighters and dogfights near a large capital ship. Admiral Akbar will be taking Thrawn and his forces head on. All right.
Admiral Akbar.
Exactly. Oh, that's too funny. All right, so on that note, he's got a bunch of them. Hey, Universal, if you got more too, go ahead and throw them in the Discord. It'll give people a reason to go over there and read them. And I'll go over there too and chat on them. Just put them in the general, because I know you couldn't figure out like getting into this one specific forum thing, so I got to take a look at that. Go ahead and put it in the general. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. You enjoyed the spoilers that both we and Universal actually put out. Keep the discussion going in the comments. Let us know what you're looking forward to most in Ahsoka Season 2 and what spoiler you guys liked the best. So with that, I think we'll wrap it up. I don't know what we're going to be doing next week. Could be anything. Could be continuing on with these spoilers. I don't know.
Hey, never know.
Never know. With that, I'm Eric Vansel.
I'm Daryl Sanders.
May the Force be with you.
Always.
Head to Head, a Star Wars podcast. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at HeadToHeadSW. Submit your questions for our next show. Visit our official website at headtoheadswpodcast.com. Until next time, may the Force be with you, always.